but to beat Quadrant, I mean, that's a big win for them. And I think that gives them a lot of promise and a lot of, I mean, I've been talking about confidence, I guess is the word of the day, right? So I think it gives them a lot of confidence going up against some of EU's best. They know how good Quadrant have been in these Pro Series. They've seen Quadrant win the whole thing. And to be able to beat a team like that, you have to understand, like, hey, we're capable of one upset. Where exactly do we fall amongst the stars now? And that's the question that only gets to be dictated by them. So honestly, I'm very excited to watch them kind of have this Shaady redemption tour, because I know he's gotten a lot of slack. Maybe it was attitude, maybe it wasn't necessarily a performance-based decision on the likes of a Sin. But I mean, what we've seen with Respectable, very similar to NaVi, is that, yeah, I think like personalities can conflict and whatnot on teams. And when that player is moved to another team, you don't necessarily have that same personality dynamic or that issue carry over. So maybe he's much happier here on Online Warriors. And what does that do for his gameplay? What does that do for this team now that they're getting a multi-time champion, a veteran here at this point in the scene on their team with a lot of individual skill paired with it? So I'm excited to see what the potential for this Online Warriors team is. And I think that NaVi are going to have their hands full here.
I do think there's potential for both of these teams, but my biggest question to you would be, who is this going to mean more to? Victory-wise, like, what does it do to both of these sides if they were able to find a victory and get to a grand final? When we look at the grand scheme of things and actually pushing on to Valencia, who takes the bigger victory here if they actually do manage to get it?
I think it's got to be Online Warriors, right? I think to beat 2 out of the best 3 teams in the EU scene here in the last Pro Series going into Valencia gives you a lot of hope and a lot of promise for your potential. I'm not quite sure if anyone's going to take down Ascendant Valencia, but for the rest of the crowd, who is going to be the favorite to be that competitor? I think that question's still up in the air, especially after Quadrant's poor performance in the last couple of weeks. So Online Warriors could be that second place favorite team if they're able to create this upset and in a convincing way. There's a lot of hope for them. If you're NaVi, you're almost expected to win this series to get back to the grand finals and play a Sin. I mean, how many times did I reference these two were going to play each other in the grand finals the day earlier on? So very much looking forward to seeing if that upset is possible.
Well, second time's a charm. We're into it this time. Aquarius capture the flag, elimination bracket finals, and a lot on the line for these two. And of course, Online Warriors still looking for an organization as well. I think if they can manage to reach a grand final here, that'll put them in great stead, a great opportunity prior to Valencia to try and secure something and to show sponsors they're worth picking up. But it's not going to be an easy ride getting past NaVi, that's for sure. And already in the early stages, Wes, some big kills coming out on the Online Warriors side.
Yeah, 3 kills go in the favor of NaVi off the break. You think Camo's going to go in their hands, but the last player alive actually able to take down that Camo player as he activated. So that not only relieved a little bit of the pressure NaVi would have had, but look, Mose is able to pick up a kill coming off spawn, and looks like somehow, some way, Online Warriors have early map control, even though they don't necessarily get the slays. And that was a massive kill onto the Camo player, whichever Online Warriors player that was. And it's going to be the first flag pull being rewarded now with 3 dead. Look at the aggressiveness. How when they get kills, they approach the map so quickly.
Yeah, a really good collapse from Online Warriors. Snakey so confident in his teammates as well, just waiting out, watching that doorway, knowing someone was going to join him. And this flag should be comfortably put in at this point, which it will be. Online Warriors take a very quick, emphatic 1-0 lead here on Aquarius capture the flag. And NaVi left scratching their heads a little bit after that start. But as long as they can continue to push this kind of car side of the map, get these dynamo grenades, they can at least give themselves a good chance of getting back into the game.
Let's see if NaVi can do it, but unfortunately, no opportunity at a counter cap, which you often see here on Aquarius. A good job by Online Warriors to get some slays, get out of their base. Phlux and Shaady see each other across the map at the enemy side. They say, hey, not too bad so far. But look at this. Phlux, as he loses team members, he's going to run all the way back to his base. And because of that, he's able to cut this flag off. So that's actually a phenomenal play from Phlux to realize and to recognize that if he doesn't come back, this could potentially be a long flag run for NaVi that he might have to do way too much work in. And therefore, coming back was the right play, stopping that flag before it gets too far and before it can get into a position where his teammates can help. In the meantime, though, Mighty's has secured this camo. He's got himself a flag to return as well.
It is always one of the most difficult decisions to make in any flag game. Do you overextend? Do you go back? But I think the good thing for Phlux was he was able to see Kimbo had overextended, and he knew he was going to have to help a teammate after the kill feed showed Kimbo getting those kills. Flag is moving though. zMightys is going to be there for assistance if the flag did struggle, but it won't struggle. Tied up 1-1. And even though Phlux did go back and help the initial pull, NaVi still stayed strong. They still pushed in. They're able to get a solid flag cap on the board.
I'm not quite sure what all transpired for NaVi to get that flag cap in, but that was a phenomenal job by them. Unfortunately, they've given up map control in order to punch that one in. They do get a round of slays, but it is going to be one more player needed to get taken down to reset the map completely. And Shaady, he gets another one. He gets actually 2 at the enemy base, and because of that, Shaady just creating so much opportunity for Online Warriors still, even though he was the last guy alive.
This heat wave been so important, but just not able to find the kills there. 2 players somehow staying alive.
But here comes
just on no shields. And now Phlux is going to have a chance to pull. He's going the unorthodox route of pink side. It can work if you do it properly, but it's definitely not the easiest way.
Definitely not the easiest, but there's still 2 fresh dead. And Shaady, although he didn't get more kills with the heat wave, 2 players with no shield, his teammates fly across the map. They're able to finish those ones off, and this flag is being run up to the stand. Can't quite cap it yet. There's players top middle, and look at that, a respawner. He's going to get his opportunity to punch that one in as he's full shield. That's a phenomenal job from Online Warriors to capitalize on the play that Shaady made in the enemy base.
And having the confidence to run it pink as well. So many players will just refuse to do so because they don't see it as the optimal way. But Phlux with the heads up play, recognizing that players were down, knowing where his teammates were, knowing where the assistance was. And it's a really nice cap to take the lead for Online Warriors. And I was questioning how the pace of play was going to be in this game. Are NaVi going to be able to control the game maybe the way they would like? I'd say the answer to that would be initially no. Online Warriors have been a thorn in their side, constantly overextending, constantly pulling these flags, and NaVi have struggled a little bit to keep up with it.
Yeah, we saw the last time NaVi got a flag cap, it was because zMightys was making plays with the camo. Unfortunately, Shaady, he's got the camo in hand and he's making plays. It means a cap for the Online Warriors as the flag was on the move the entire time. The camo player creating chaos in Shady's heat wave. Right now, respawners, however, for NaVi need to try and deny a double cap situation because the slays came through in Shady's hands. It's a good job by NaVi to fend off these enemy Online Warriors players pink side of the map to deny any opportunity at a counter or at a double cap. I'm sorry, but for NaVi, you need to figure out a way to get map control yourself, because right now down 3-1, plenty of time on the clock, but the pace of play clearly in Online Warriors' favor, like you said.
And strap yourself in, guys, because I can already tell that this not is only going to be an exciting series, but this is going to be 2 teams who are going to be going at it, not just online, but on LAN as well. Like, just judging by the early stages of this game, the caps that have gone in for Online Warriors, the back and forth trades we've seen in terms of kills, Online Warriors, the pickup of Shaady has been the perfect replacement they could have asked for Respectful. And you could argue the same thing for Ascend on the flip side. NaVi were the ones who initiated all of these changes as well. Ended up with zMightys. zMightys has been brilliant for NaVi, but it seems like we have 3 squads who are all hungry, all looking to try and take that #1 spot. But realistically, NaVi and Online Warriors right now just fighting for #2.
#2 is still a highly contested spot. You got Quadrant in the mix as well, but they're out here for today's tournament because both these 2 teams took them down. Snakey with another flag on the move. Last guy alive, and zMightys able to deny that flag from progressing any further for now. But just like that, another member of Online Warriors is there to pick it up where Snakey left off. And because of that, Mose is going to make this a 4-1 game now with 5 minutes and 37 seconds left. At some point, we're going to have to talk about the efficiency we're seeing out of Online Warriors, because it's just about every flag they pulled, they've been able to cap.
Very impressive indeed. And you questioned, is Mose going to have a series like he did previously? Doesn't look like it so far. Game 1 been very successful for him, and he really does look like a different player to what we saw prior. And that just allows Online Warriors, they're all firing. It means they're all going to be a threat when you get into that 1v1 engagement. There's not going to be any easy kills, but a camouflage for NaVi, 5 minutes still remaining, and potentially a chance to start a comeback here if Jimbo can get something going.
Jimbo needs to get something going. Unfortunately, it's a frag. I'm not quite sure if it's a team nade or if it's an enemy nade from on top of the ceiling down into the flag. Consistently are those thrown from the respawners over in the corner, but either way, that frag grenade not only dealing damage to Jim, but revealing him for just a moment in time in order to help Online Warriors spot that camouflage out, take him down. But 3 dead for Online Warriors and throughout the entire exchange here. And This is going to be a NaVi flag pull. Unfortunately, they got one player to deal with front to base, and Mose with thrust can't quite finish Kimbo, but has he delayed the flag run enough to be a difference?
It's a good delay, but sometimes delays aren't enough to really stop a flag. But certainly in the position Kimbo's in right now, he has to try and worm his way out of it. You're so vulnerable to grenades in those areas. Jimbo will be running it, but runs straight into a heat wave. And again, Online Warriors have control of all the goodies as Mose gets a double kill.
Mose picking up a big double there. That cap gonna be returned to NaVi. They want to come back in this one. They got to get a better flag cap. A minute at this point. Under 4 minutes on the clock. You're down 3, and Mose with the heat wave. Focus on just playing out, and that's exactly what he's going to do. He spots the respawner and Kimbo in the corner, and 3 dead once again for NaVi. Last player alive, zMightys, and you can tell he's got his hands full with 3 different members of Online Warriors dealing damage during that combat loop.
Yeah, though zMightys wasn't able to get the kill. He did enough damage onto the flag carrier that spawners could at least stop him in his tracks, keep him in the courtyard, and keep this game going. Online Warriors, though, look a threat every single time they get into that base and pulling that flag. They seem to have great communication with how they want to set up, but NaVi seem to allow one player just to wriggle through to be a nuisance for the Online Warriors. But with only 3 minutes left, everything's pointing towards that blue team. NaVi don't seem to have what it takes to just match them in their slaying department right now.
No, not at all right now. Online Warriors is paced to play on a small map like Aquarius, benefiting them so much. You can tell NaVi are probably going to look forward the rest of the series, but here and now it's a tough pill to swallow, especially after the recharge game. If you remember from the winners finals against the Sin, that's a tough game to go off on a series and then immediately having to play another strong team like Online Warriors. It's a very difficult situation to put your team in. You got to be able to mentally reset, and apparently NaVi maybe not the best right now at being able to get back into their mentality as of yet.
3 are dead though, and Jimbo is running this flag, and with only Snakey alive, you'd imagine that NaVi should play it correctly and should at least put this at 4-2 with 2 minutes remaining, so it's not out of reach. It's still doable, but there's still a lot to do for NaVi, but that is a far cleaner cap. It does help when you get 3 dead, but at least they were positioned in the right places.
Building some confidence going into game 2 as well, at the very least, right? You're not losing 5-1 in a very dominant form. So any momentum gained here is just confidence going into the rest of the series. These guys, they need it right now. And Online Warriors, they're not going to give it to them easy. That's 3 dead once again for NaVi. Flag on a move from Shaady. And if plays continue to go into Online Warriors' favor, they'll remove any confidence that flag cat may have given them.
It's still moving. It's still grooving. Flag is out, but at least they've got it all the way back to their base now. So NaVi gonna have to work so hard. And with Shaady having the heat wave to defend it, it's going to be incredibly difficult for NaVi to get this return, but they are at least pressuring from top middle here.
This is Jimmy getting the return. Unfortunately, he gets taken down. The flag does get returned, however, but still just 2 caps needed. Not able to get a counter cap on the move was Jimbo and the boys for NaVi, and down 2 flags now with a minute left. It's going to be a very difficult story to try and write. And look at the new addition, Dan, in the kills category. 30 for Shaady here in game 1 of the elimination finals, and Shaady just popping off, almost double positive at this point. You know he was a talent that probably should have been looked at from the side of NaVi when they were replacing a member on their roster. Not to throw any shade at zMightys, he has done nothing but played phenomenally for this NaVi roster, but Shaady is one of those talents that does not become a free agent often.
31 kills and plenty of assists for the rest of the team. The flag was being run. Is it actually going to be able to be captured? Are NaVi going to be able to make this 4-3 and give themselves a chance with 20 seconds left and remaining? With so much aggression in the base and Phlux in the position he finds himself in, I'm not sure whether NaVi are going to have enough time to actually get this cap the flag and then pull yet another. Online Warriors seem to have secured it here in these final moments.
To say it starts with a couple of kills. Unfortunately, 3 dead for NaVi. Everybody getting a kill on Online Warriors' side, and because of that, Shaady puts it up from 30 to 33 in the last few seconds. It's a 4-2 victory that was very lopsided in the gameplay from the side of Online Warriors. It's on the back of Shady's 33 kills, and that was a dominant game 1. And that's what you want to see if you want to see attrition here at the top of the EU scene. Although it's didn't look as strong as ever, it's those 2, 3, 4 spots that are really up in the air for me for who can win, and Online Warriors proving that they belong in that conversation.
I think the Online Warriors would have been rubbing their hands together when Respectful did join in place of Shaady. As long as they were able to actually get Shaady, I think there would have been the initial worry of, well, what happens if Shaady is taken by someone else? And as you say, maybe NaVi perhaps could have looked at it if they hadn't already taken zMightys. But as soon as Shaady gets added to any roster, he adds that 33 kills. Sure, only 6 assists, but he did the job that was asked of him. 7.5k damage. He didn't seem to be missing. Very impressive stuff from Shaady, and the support that was coming out from the rest of the squad helped out. Snakey, I think, had 20 assists at the same time. So when you count out the assists and the kills that Online Warriors were able to achieve, you can tell the teamwork is on point, and it's only going to get better. So I think that's a really good sign for Online Warriors that they can find success so early on in their career as a new team. You can say the same for NaVi and how they've progressed in the last few weeks at the same time. But in an Aquarius capture the flag game type, where I would usually say NaVi are very strong, they know how to play it, Online Warriors had the number in every single scenario. When it came to those flag runs, as you said, they were so efficient. Very impressive indeed.
One of the storylines I guess we haven't really touched on too much was how strong Online Warriors looked in the Pro Series that they got to play with Respectful in, right? They made it all the way to the grand finals in their first week teaming with Respectful, and then Respectful gets the offer from Ascend, and obviously he's going to take that, right? With the accolades that Ascend have built up and the talent that they have. But if you're the other 3 members on Online Warriors, you're kind of kicking yourself, because that's probably the best team any of you guys have been on in Halo Infinite, and you thought, hey, maybe we really do have something special here. You really want Respectful to stay with us, right? We want to grind through this, see if we can potentially be better than some of these teams. And unfortunately, Respectful made the decision he did. So everybody on the team now looks around. They got a chip on their shoulder. Like, why weren't we good enough for Respectful to stay? Look at what we did in a week. They get an opportunity to team with Shaady. And that chip now, like, on their shoulders, saying to Respectful, hey, we were good enough to where you should have stayed with us. Obviously, Ascend doing what they're doing now is going to prove in Respectful's favor for now, but Online Warriors, they want an opportunity to call themselves the top dogs in this scene. They want to prove to everyone that they can compete with Europe's best, right? And I think Shaady coming with his replacement on Ascend and whatnot being dropped, I think that everyone on this Online Warriors team has something to prove. And those are, in the history of Halo, if you look back, those are the most dangerous squads, right? The ones where you fire everybody up and you give everybody a reason to be pissed off coming in. So I love the fact that this team looks angry. They look like they're clicking. They look like they're all on the same page. There's a lot of individual skill to pair with that mentality. And right now, NaVi having a very hard time handling it. I think we really need to start considering how good this Online Warriors team is, and especially if they're able to continue this fired up mentality that they clearly have.
Slayer live fire, game number 2 then. And everything you said, completely true. Online Warriors is a very scary force. It was just a matter of time until they knocked that 8th seed out of the park that they had to play with today, as Shaady continues his form from game number 1 into game number 2, has the sniper rifle in his hands. One thing I will say, NaVi very good at controlling the overshield on live fire, but if Online Warriors are able to get it consistently, oh my goodness, jeez, what can you do against this man? Whoa!
Oh! Shaady, give me some more of that. How do you drop this talent? I don't care what he's doing attitude-wise. I'll figure it out.
This man not missing a bullet at the moment, even hitting pinky toes. So much confidence with the way he's flowing around the map. And when you've got someone playing in that way, Wes, you can just have so much confidence in yourself as a team. As Kimbo drops to his death as well, Shaady will take on the world right now. And he's even hitting skill jumps.
Yeah, he's something special to watch. Has been for a long time. One of those guys in Halo 5 that really impressed me alongside of Legend and the boys. But now that he's having to do it on his own, figure it out by himself. The underdog story. I love it. And he's proven everybody that he has the individual skill to compete with some of the world's best and just continuing to pop off. But I mean, it's not really by himself, right? Everybody on this Online Warriors team has been doubted. The rumors around Snakey's performances early in Halo Infinite and how they weren't legit. Mose, you know the journey he's been on. Phlux, you can bet similar stories have been an underdog performance from him. So I just love the opportunity that these guys all have in order to seize the moment that they have with each other.
It's almost like a misfit story, isn't it? Where
yeah,
You don't expect it to work, but then you put 4 players who have that drive, who have that potential together, and it just clicks on the day. And if it starts being put into practice and finding strategy alongside it, then they become one of the most terrifying teams in Europe, that's for sure. And I think they know they've got something special here, just from the performance that they had previously with Respectful and how well it's translated now into what Shady's been doing at the same time, as there's a triple potential there, but Snakey wisely backs away because of the overshield. Not too confident, doesn't want to just throw a life away, waits for teammates. Very well played.
Now he plays it perfectly, right? Stays alive, allows the overshield guy to get distracted, but does some great damage along the way. And just like that, watch, rinse, repeat, 25-20. The pace of this game, so fast. NaVi, although we've seen pop-off moments from Online Warriors, are still within striking distance. It's only a 4-kill game, and it's on the back of Jimbo with 8 kills, Kimbo with 8 kills. So the Bo boys, they're out here to play, and they're going to need to figure out a way to win this game too if they want to find themselves in the grand finals. A storyline that we thought was almost guaranteed coming into today.
Nice shots from Kimbo. Those are the individual fights you need to be winning to try and keep Online Warriors at bay. But every single time we flick over to an Online Warriors POV, it seems to be a multi-kill, double, potential for a triple, always happening. phlux, I will say he always seems to have one of these sandbox weapons in his hand, whether it be a bulldog, whether it be heatwave. There's something to help him in these close range engagements. He seems to be prioritizing them on the map, and it's so important that one of your players does so. And phlux will happily play that role because we've seen in North American Halo as well how important that is. Players like Lucid, for example, always making sure he's got something in his back pocket.
Jimbo continuing to hit impressive snipes today. Lands a nice body shot, no scope on the Shaady, unfortunately. Finished up, and as Overshield's coming up, this battle right here is so important for NaVi. Down 5 kills, and Overshield could be the difference maker. Look at that, the kill feed. It's all NaVi. They're able to get 3 unanswered kills, secure an Overshield, and now all of a sudden, they got a ton of momentum behind them. Jimbo picks up the 4th across the map, and now split spawns coming through. These players back tower, they're by themselves. They can't deal with an Overshield player like that, and because of it, NaVi are right back in this down 1.
Yep, they need those OVs. That's where the really important focus has to be going towards. They've had so much success doing it in the past, and they're doing exactly the same here in this game, and now they find themselves just within a couple of kills. zMightys tries to win that engagement, needs a little bit of help here. Unfortunately, will not find it. And it's 37-34, but this one is on a knife's edge. All it can take is, you know, one bad grenade or one good grenade from a team, and that suddenly throws you into a good position.
How well did Snakey play his life over at green right there? Being able to stay alive, get underneath. zMightys there, get his shield back, repulse him, just buy time, and end up picking up a few more kills along the way. It's extended Online Warriors' ability to keep the lead here, now up 2 as we cross the 40 kill mark.
And NaVi need this game. They cannot afford to go 2-0 down in this series. You worry then that maybe heads will start to drop, and perhaps confidence will be far too superior for Online Warriors. 41-39, still very much in reach for both of these teams, as NaVi starting to get back into things, and a heat wave for Kimbo means they were all tied up 41-41. And Mose and the Online Warriors, they have been pinned back. They have to just wait. They have to be patient, but zMightys flies on in as he does so often.
Gets the entry, but is immediately traded out. The damage is good from Kimbo, but is anyone there from NaVi to finish up on this damage? Jimbo does find one, but the second one doesn't come through, so just trades across the board, and trades are going to benefit Online Warriors for now. Overshield will be coming up. Who's got the positioning? It looks like it's going to benefit Online Warriors. They get a few kills paired with that position to get the Overshield, and although NaVi did such a good job to secure the previous Overshield, this one may have been more important as it's 46-43.
Oh, Jimbo's green gun just hits the wrong player. That could have been a game-winning play. I like the attempt. He went straight back tower, grabbed it, but good bait coming out from Online Warriors. 48-44, sniper rifle in the hands of Snakey, and a chance to maybe hit a couple of shots to win this game. Needs to help the rest of the team, though. They're all weak because of grenades here, and here comes the NaVi push.
Here comes the NaVi push. The sniper not the best position to be stuck behind this pillar. And Jimbo, he's able to find that kill. 46, 48. All of a sudden, no deaths can be allowed from the side of NaVi. No room for error. They're going to be able to find the heat wave and the snipes. Do they have the power weapons to play around? How do they decide to play this? Are they going to be aggressive? They're going to be passive and wait for a pick. Are they going to expect somebody to be at green because Mose is out there? They find the kill on the Mose. The body shot headshot from Jimbo is good. There's a player elbow. Can Jimbo relocate? Can he stay alive? No, the flank from Shaady gets the kill. 49 to 48 now. Online Warriors need one, but it's all tied up. One kill to go for this game 2 in the elimination finals, and 2 Foxy finds it. 50 to 49. NaVi now tie up the series.
NaVi are not done yet. They looked down and out with the early stages of that game, but they showed such great promise to be able to just work their way back in, to play it strategically, to get those overshields. And the way they pushed when they had done damage, very impressive, especially on that overshield side. They managed to hit 2 players with a grenade. They knew Phlux was very weak, and they absolutely flew, even though the opposition only needed 2 kills. You need confidence. You need to be trusting in your teammates to be able to do that. This is the NaVi that we didn't see back in the day. We would never see NaVi make a push like that, especially not as a 4. Sometimes they'd make it as a 2 or as a 3, but all 4 members pushed that OV side together to make sure they got ahead, they got the player advantage, and they find themselves up in a 50 to 49 victory to get back into this series.
I love when you do analysis and it just matches up exactly with what I would say, Dan. I love the push from Jimbo there onto the player sniping behind the overshield. That is a terrible position for that sniper to be in. Jimbo punishes him, and because of it, Jimbo picks up that snipe, puts it to work, finds a kill, and that's exactly what NaVi needed. They kept momentum in their favor. They did not play scared. 4,800 damage for Jimbo, and every single bit of it needed to be the difference in this 50 to 49 match. But now the series is all tied up, and if you're Online Warriors, what a moment that would have been to go up 2-0 in this elimination finals to try and get to the grand finals. But NaVi, they stay in this one. They prove some doubt wrong, and because of it, they give themselves some more opportunity to find themselves in a back-to-back grand finals opportunity in these pro series, and that would be a lot of confidence in their hands. So game 3, it's a pivotal one. It's the pendulum shifting once again. Can NaVi use this game 2 victory, this comeback win, to somehow get back into this grand finals and play us in and then create a different storyline here and now?
And we got to see the final moments there from 2Foxy's POV, just catching Snakey out bottom tower. A questionable challenge. Obviously, we haven't seen it from Snakey's POV. Maybe he thought he could get a kill there at the end, and Foxy just able to get the angle. And that's something that Foxy has always done well. He knows the positions he needs to play to get kills. But I said that NaVi had to win that one. 2-0 down. I think that maybe this series starts to walk away from them. But now we very much have a best of 5 on our hands that could go either way. And we get a brand new game type. We get King of the Hill on Recharge. This is a very difficult one to navigate if you haven't practiced it. I've even heard some of the best North American teams not knowing the rotation of the hills yet. Right? You have to be putting the time in to start to learn those things. And even though they're very simple, it does take a little bit of time putting into the game to make sure you know exactly how you want to play things, where you want the opposition to be spawning here, who's put in more time, who's done more of their homework here. You'd have to lean towards NaVi with how much practice they've had in recent weeks, but we know Online Warriors are a very dangerous team.
I take it from a guy that did 0 homework until I was at school the morning of. Very interested to see who has done their homework and can I cheat off of you? Shaady.
We're going to learn some way.
Shaady, he's got his camo in hand. Cheating the competition because now he's invisible. Makes his way towards the battery, the disruptor. Maybe not the best gun for the situation, so he's going to drop it for the shock rifle after he picks up that kill. But you got to get this out of Shady's hands, because if we learned anything about this series so far is that Shaady is playing on fire, and putting him in a position to pop off is not what NaVi fans want to see.
Yeah, if he can hit shots with a sniper, you know full well he's going to be hitting him with a shock. He's going to reposition so he can assist the team, stays alive, and will hit shots continuously. zMightys walks next into the death beam. It's a drop shot onto Kimbo, and Shaady, he's probably feeling a little bit frustrated that his team wasn't able to win after the way he played in the previous game. So perhaps that frustration being fueled into his performance here. Nice early kills as Online Warriors still continue to score.
Halfway into the point. As they cross that mark, Shaady doing everything, yet to die at this point, doing it all as well. Picking up a kill before going down, but that is 4 dead for Online Warriors. So NaVi are going to have an opportunity to completely set up how they want it. Can they predict where the spawns are coming from? They see the first grenade, so they should know everyone's coming from elevator side. How do they trap Online Warriors in this situation? Kimbo picks up the first kill. That's a big one. Let's get back in the hill. Let's get some time. This is still a winnable situation to acquire this first point.
I do love the way that this first hill plays, because naturally you want to try and position yourself over towards C-flat, because that's where the next hill is going to be. But I would argue that's the worst spawn to have in this bottom hill, and I'm open to disagreement or to maybe your own judgment. But when you drop from elevator, you've got far much more cover to work with than you do when you're spawning over towards C-flat. You do get those nades banked off of that stairwell as well. So maybe for a team, you've got to try and really consider how you want to play things. Do you want to try and control the C-plat just for the next hill? Do you want to play elevator side so you get this hill and then move over to elevator? It's very difficult to try and adjust.
Yeah, I think in a perfect world, you control both C-plat and elevator. You force glass spawns, in my opinion, and you allow that pit to be such a difficult position to get an angle on. But I mean, it's very difficult to perfect that opportunity, right? To control both of those in a situation. So I think this bottom middle hill is all about working with what you got and figuring out a way to get as much time and trading damage efficiently, right? If your hill guy can get a kill, that's massive, because he's got an icon over his head. He's literally in the bottom middle of the map. He's gonna receive so much damage from grenades, from focus everywhere, so many different angles. So if he's able to get a kill, just making sure you're somehow always at a man advantage is basically the goal. How you're able to do that, I don't really care. Just get it done. Snakey with the shock rifle, can you get it done now that you've been able to acquire the first point? They're able to assumingly win the rotations over towards long haul, and this is a hill that's much easier to lock down, Dan.
Yeah, this is one where if you set up properly, you should be able to score it, and we see a lot of teams just give up on it when it is so successfully set up on. Shaady has the sword. He can control tower. That means you're going to force the other team all the way through Whirlpool here. And if NaVi is just constantly walking to shock rifle shots, they're going to be falling to the BR shots that are inevitably going to follow over from the kind of top gold area, which Mose is currently holding. So a really nice setup from Online Warriors, and that's why they've secured so many points here already, and they may actually get this hill just off one setup.
I mean, it's almost a perfect setup, Dan. If you have to break it, you got to figure out a way to do it now for NaVi. They decide to push glass. They get the guy out of the hill. Unfortunately, it's a flank from Shaady with the sword, and he gets a triple. It was beautiful. It was perfectly played from Shaady, jumping up into the sneaky. He gets 2 easy ones, the nade 1 shot as well. And now he's found himself the shock rifle. Shaady may have been the most impressive player we've seen today after the performance he's put on. Mose finding himself a double with the camo is going to bid and fit them to start capturing this 3rd point. And Dan, you went from long haul, which is an easy point to secure and lock down if you get a full setup. This elevator one, it's a very similar story, and somehow, some way, Online Warriors is set up perfectly for it.
Shaady with 20 kills right now.
Jesus.
And if we were talking about, you know, revenge tour from Brandon Respectful Stones last week, it is very much Shaady taking all of the plaudits here this week, and he wants another stab at Ascend later on, because the way he's playing like a man possessed at the moment. If you've got that on your side, if you've got that much firepower to work with, it almost gives you the freedom to play the game however you want. They can just think about setups. They can think about the positions they need to be, because you've got one player on your team who is winning every single engagement. And I tell you what, Mose is having a series as well. He needed to after previous performances earlier today, but he seems to be absolutely steamrolling.
Maybe not the best crewmate, but a very strong Halo player. And you know he wasn't going to have back-to-back poor performances. Mose really picking it up here. 12, 8, and 9, but I mean, the talk of the town is Shaady right now. 21, 2, and 5. If I'm Snakey and Phlux, get me in the hill. I'll stand still. I'll just sip my coffee while you guys go to work. Maybe even go out downstairs, pick up the Uber Eats, have a nice meal, because right now, Online Warriors, they're cruising here to a Game 3 victory. It's a 3-0 hill point score line, I guess you call it, but I mean, the slaying department, it's Shaady, and he almost has as many kills as the entirety of NaVi at some points in this game.
It's the way he moves around the map, and with movement becoming a hot topic, with snap sliding or whatever you want to call it being introduced, and people starting to figure out how to best add that to their repertoire, if Shaady starts to do similar things and move around the map in a way that we know he can from Halo 5, then he becomes an even more of a bigger threat in this community to maybe really just start to set the bar of how you maneuver your way around the map and how you can employ that into your actual game. Foxy, though, he's been performing pretty well in these latter stages. He's started to at least get NaVi back into this game ever so slightly with his shock rifle kills, but I think it might just be a little bit too late. With 2 minutes on the clock and a 3-0 lead, Online Warriors are looking really comfortable.
Yeah, they want the 4-0. You can tell it. Snakey's setting up for this bottom tunnel stronghold as well, and already having the advantage on the bar with control of the map. Look at Shaady's positioning. He's such a difficult player to deal with here. You have to flush him out before trying to push across because he's going to take you down. Jimbo does land some good grenades, but I mean, the aggressiveness from Snakey and the boys, they're not going to let Jimbo get away with this. He's hunted down like a wild boar back in the day, and unfortunately that was another reset of spawns for NaVi. They just didn't have the answer to break any of these setups, and really it's momentum, right? We talked about it coming into the series. Was Online Warriors controlling the pace and the momentum of the game going to be a problem? In that game 3, the answer was absolutely.
And you'd think that, you know, practice, homework, all put into the equation, but I don't think NaVi would have ever considered 20 plus kills
if you
to
don't
come
do
into
your
it.
homework, there's success stories out there. Look at this.
There
Somehow
definitely
I'm
is.
here.
And unfortunately, you know, that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. You can be in that last minute club. You can just play the game the way you want to play. And I tell you what, Shaady played it in his own style, in his own way. And boy, is he finding success. 24 kills. Assists from the rest of the squad, of course. Mose had a pretty impressive game. I mean, the whole squad played lights out there. NaVi just couldn't really keep up. Were never able to get into those primary positions. They were constantly on the back foot with where they were spawning. Considering the lack of practice that this Online Warriors squad has had, if you consider how long they've been a team, you've got to say they had it pretty nailed on with how they wanted to approach that game, with where they wanted to be spawning NaVi, with where they wanted to be setting up, which is definitely a claim to fame for sure when you look at what they've been able to achieve so far with how Shaady's been playing. So NaVi back to the drawing board when it comes to Recharge King of the Hill, but they're still in this series. It still is a best of 5. They're only 2-1 down, of course, but with how Shaady and the rest of the squad just played that game, I think that suddenly Online Warriors become the favorite in this series, West.
Oh yeah, absolute the favorites after that game 3 performance. The objectives have not looked pretty for NaVi. Slayer, they won narrowly, and they're gonna have to figure out how to win an objective. But Dan, I have a question for you. Do you think Superman did his homework? Not quite sure what's going on there, but I don't think we've seen their superstar, like the stars on that team, rise to the occasion either. I think SLG and Chick were very quiet today in the Quadrant series that we watched. Those players typically aren't quiet for long, is what I've learned about them. So the last time I got an opportunity to watch these guys on LAN, they pushed Sentinels to the distance in a best of 5. They even almost won that series outright. Sentinels went on to win the tournament, and I know that was a little bit different of a Quadrant roster, but I still have high hopes for those guys. I still think on any given day that they could be the best in Europe.
Well, the players are back in the lobby. There was rumors of a potential forfeit if said player did not turn up in time. The rulebook was being thrown at one of the sides, but it looks like they are all ready to go, and we are jumping back onto live fire. Of course, previously it was a Slayer. Not going to be the case this time, but NaVi very good at controlling that power up. Wes, if they can do the same here, I'm sure they'll put themselves in good stead to maybe take a victory. Otherwise, if you're on the side of Online Warriors, surely you've got to be thinking about this overshoot. You've got to be stopping NaVi from getting so much control.
Let's see if NaVi can compete in some of the objectives here in this series. So far, the objectives heavily in the favor of Online Warriors. We're kicking it off with Shaady, already doing Shaady things, getting the first kill of the game. He takes down the best player so far performing today on NaVi and zMightys, but Foxy been able to answer it with a kill of his own. Found the sniper, but that's just a low percentage play from him, and you got to be kicking yourself if you're Foxy for giving that S7 away. The battle for Overshield is going to ensue, but it is going to be early time going to Online Warriors as they transfer B. They do lose Overshield, however, I believe.
Yep, Overshield going to be popped on to zMightys here. Misses a couple of shots. Doesn't connect with the third either. Just doesn't seem to be his day with the sniper rifle, but he's still got it in his hand. Still has a chance to hit some. And really, when you've got an Overshield, Sniper rifle sometimes isn't the weapon you want to have in your hands. You want to be getting aggressive. You want to be putting some pressure on the opposition. Unfortunately, he just became a target and made himself aware as Shaady picks up and shows zMightys how to put it to use.
Jesus, Shaady, just stop doing it to him. So many times I feel like we've seen Shaady just ripping the heads of NaVi off throughout this series. He continues it, limited ammo in the sniper, puts it to use. Now he's found himself a heat wave, heavily under pressure. Can't quite hit the melee onto 2Foxy, and that's a big kill to shut Shaady down. Unfortunately, everybody else around you, 2Foxy goes down. 2Foxy, 5 kills to his name, so having a great game 4 so far, but needs help from the rest of NaVi in order to turn this ship around. 30 points is all Online Warriors have to their name at this point in time in the game. An overshield coming up in 15 seconds. It'll be interesting to see if NaVi decide to slow down and play for overshield, or if they try to stop the bleeding of the stronghold points.
Well, Foxy went back to try and find the heat wave whilst 2 of his teammates unfortunately fell elsewhere, and he was probably thinking, for goodness sake, just give me the time to get the weapon. Overshield's coming up. Snakey's in a position to fight for it, but probably doesn't want to jump on it just yet. Here comes the NaVi push. They don't quite put it into the chest, though, and that could have been the chance for NaVi to really turn around their fortunes, but with Shaady now picking it up, then it's only going to spell bad news.
Yeah, somehow Online Warriors get the trip cap, get the overshield as well, and this is when bad goes worse. Kimbo does pick up a nice kill, but it's the only kill once again. Jimbo forced to not even jump in the stronghold as of yet. Look at this. This is the right play, unfortunately, to try and buy time for his teammates to spawn. He's able to get a little bit of help from 2Foxy. They get that first kill. They need to be able to transfer some of these strongholds, though. They're transferring A and B for the moment, but C gets reset. B gets completed, so the trip cap it's done with, but 120 points is what Online Warriors are going to have to play with the lead here early.
But what was interesting there was A, B, and C were all being taken temporarily by NaVi. That means they split 3 ways to try and get hills back. That's how desperate and maybe unorganized they were in that moment. But it looks like they've been able to gather their thoughts, get back together, and finally will be able to break this setup and take control and start scoring some points of their own. But that could have been so bad if that had gone wrong, because if you split that much and allow Online Warriors to just run around as a 4 and melt you, they could have been down a lot of points. But I say that, they're already down quite a lot, but that's better from zMightys with a sniper rifle.
Oh, zMightys with the triple, looking for the over. Can he get it with the frag grenade? He's going to try and push Mose, but the trip cap for NaVi is more important than anything right now. They're going to be able to start taking chunks away from the lead that Online Warriors built for how long can they hold this trip cap. Multiple players are over towards the tower, and NaVi looked to try and keep tower control as they did lose A momentarily. So you want to see NaVi hold on to C. Unfortunately, Kimbo's got to get involved here quickly if they want to get the reset. He is able to get that reset. And look at that, 2 fresh dead from Online Warriors. Overshield is coming up. They need to find a way to secure this overshield. Unfortunately, Kimbo didn't expect the underneath bottom middle push. It does look like they've gotten overshield, however, and continuing to score points in their favor. So finally, NaVi starting to fight back here in an objective.
And it all started with this man on your screen, zMightys, a triple kill previously, and now another triple kill after getting the overshield. And when you need someone to step up, when you need someone to be hitting those shots to give you a chance to get back into a game, that's exactly what he's done. And considering this young talent is new and under pressure, he does put results out there. Struggled a little bit in the early stages of this game when he had the sniper rifle, but now starting to heat up. All 4 dead, 132 to 104. NaVi, just as they did in the Slayer game, they are right back into it here on live fire.
And they forced the tower spawns. They have control to see if they can get around the slays. They can hold this trip cap, potentially take a lead. What was once a 132-point lead for Online Warriors, now completely almost all tied up. They need to run the slays to secure it, gaining this lead, and there they do it. NaVi fighting back just when things were at its darkest point here in this series. They step up. zMightys gives them the light. A couple of triple kills to match, and we'll see what they're able to do from here.
zMightys so confident he even challenges a heat wave, almost pays for it, eventually does go down, but NaVi will be more than happy with how they've got back into this game now, but they just can't allow Online Warriors to find that same control they had at the start of the game. As I say that, A, B, and C currently being taken, and if Shaady doesn't get contested, this is going to be total control, and now they're probably going to fly at these players into C, especially if they get an early pick.
And they need to get some kills in order to do so. Overshield is going to be coming up here in about 20 seconds, I believe. Phlux has to back down. Going to relocate to bottom middle, but 2Foxy picks up 2 big kills. That should be B control going over, but the reset does come through. And oh my God, somehow, some way, phlux is able to keep his teammate alive that's in this stronghold. Not only that, but find another triple kill. So he answers zMightys triple kills as one of his own. Foxy got the first 2 kills of that fight engagement. You thought it with 4-on-2, NaVi could pull it off, but somehow phlux just doing so much damage from the back line there. Did look like Overshield was in the hands of NaVi, and that's allowed them to get off respawn this time around, but that could have gotten ugly, Dan.
Yeah, it's another overshield for NaVi, but maybe they gave up some map control, and it was the way that phlux played it. He went bottom middle, ran away from a player. He saw Mose die in front of him, and it's always dangerous to push in an area where you've just seen a teammate die because you'd assume that there's going to be eyes on that, but he just timed it perfectly as now Jimbo's starting to hit some shots as well. Does find one. Needs to make sure he at least gets a little bit of help here, but he's going to be on his own. So this is important that he hits one of these shots, but unfortunately he cannot do so.
I don't know if you saw it, but Snakey was hiding at the bottom of that elbow position, just behind the box, waiting for the NaVi push. He gets a back smack, he gets a nade one shot, and he stops the push by himself. That was a hell of a play from Snakey off screen there. It's allowed Online Warriors to regain the lead and continue to build it, now up over 50.
Well, A and B being taken. C already in control. NaVi have a chance to start scoring once more. And now, due to that retake, they know exactly where all of these players reside from Online Warriors. Good nades from zMightys to take down Mose. And they're not too far behind. And considering they were able to come back from about 120 points down, you know full well that NaVi will be confident they can get back into a game whenever they need to. But you don't want to allow Online Warriors to get too close to victory here. Otherwise, then you start to worry and you start to just desperate a few of these strongholds.
You don't want it to get to that point. zMightys with a great stick, some good damage onto a second player. Unfortunately, not quite sure if anybody from NaVi able to capitalize, and because Shady's able to get his shield back, look at what happens. Shaady just hits some perfect shots onto 2 players from NaVi. Hops into B as well, and that's going to be B being transferred over. They are going to be potentially at risk of losing C, but they're focused on A, and if they're able to get the next round of plays, it's going to be a trip cap. It's actually a trip cap no matter what. What can NaVi do to get out of it quickly, because they don't have much time?
A lot of big kills are about to happen, but where's it going to go? NaVi lose one, so do Online Warriors. Kimbo needs to fight with these players that are top middle, but he gets pushed from both sides. It's an important trade as phlux finds himself the last remaining player, but does cap B to keep Online Warriors scoring, and he finds one. Just needs to stay alive and be a nuisance at this point. And Online Warriors close to taking this series and sending themselves to another grand final.
Yeah, just moments away. Can you just get a couple of kills? Mighty almost pushes a little bit too quick, feeling the pressure of the moment, knowing he's got to get into B somehow, some way. And look at Online Warriors swarming in front of A. Both players in no shield, but just not the resources to finish them off. Jimbo just try to hop into B, but 10 points is all Online Warriors need. There's another player into B, but Shaady deals with the second. Shaady stays alive. Another player, I believe, was over towards the B stronghold, but Shaady somehow, some way, just buying so much time for his team to come off respawn.
It's a last-ditch attempt then from NaVi to take B and try and get back into this one, but Snakey is going to push in, get aggressive, finds 2 thanks to the help of phlux. C's being taken, but A and B now for Online Warriors, and they just need to hold one of these strongholds, and they will be the victors here. They will be going to the grand finals. And with a sniper rifle and with the players in the right position, no one from NaVi to contest. As I say, that A is currently being fought for, so still a last chance here for NaVi.
Still a last chance, but you gotta play perfect. 249. Wouldn't that be a comeback story here? But hey, it's being transferred. You gotta get into a stronghold. They do jump into B, but I'm not sure they have the resources. B gets killed and gets reset, and with it, the 250 a point will end this series in Online Warriors' favor. They're gonna take this one 3-1.
Online Warriors get to the grand finals yet again. This time their replacement is Shaady, of course, previously on Ascend, who they meet in the grand finals. So we are definitely due an absolute slobber knocker when we do get there. But for NaVi, 3rd place. I mean, it's a familiar position for them. We've seen them finishing 3rd, 4th quite often previously in Pro Series back in the day. It's going to be a tough pill to swallow for sure, because they've made so much progress over these last couple of weeks, whereas that they were probably thinking, yeah, look, we're top 2, we get to the grand finals, we try and have a stab at Ascend, and we go into Valencia predicted as maybe the 2nd best team. But Online Warriors, suddenly they've done it again. They show up out of nowhere. They were 8th seed coming into this. and they find themselves in the grand finals. But we just have to, you know, congratulate how successful they were and how impressive they were.
Disappointed for sure are NaVi and NaVi fans for now, but the big picture remains on Valencia. We will not be able to see them compete until then. Let's see what scrimming in the next 2 weeks can do. We talk about the incremental improvements this team can make and have made. Let's hope that continues with their story. But the transition focus on the Online Warriors and what they have built in such a short period of time, and the opportunity that they have given themselves as individuals. Snakey and Shaady, the two damage leaders for this team, doing it all here. But I mean, everybody having a highlight reel at some point in this series and just showing you how much talent is on this roster, Dan.
And how much talent's in Europe. I think that one thing we can say is it's very competitive at not just the top end, but also in the mid-tier area of European as well. European Halo, excuse me. Which is going to mean Valencia is going to be very spicy indeed. But it's Online Warriors who are going to get their stab at Ascend in the grand finals here of Pro Series number 7, the last Pro Series as well. All season long, it's been Ascend at the top. The one time they were dethroned, it was a loss to Online Warriors, previously with Respectful on that side. But of course, Quadrant came out and won that Pro Series in the end. But now Ascend looking to try and stay at the top going into the end of Pro Series 7, just as they did in Pro Series 1. There's the final lay of the land then. Online Warriors win 3-1. NaVi, they're able to take a map, but it was a 50-49. Lottie, Jersey, I mean, watching in the wings there, and I'm sure you were very impressed with NaVi's comeback in some of those maps, Lottie, but unfortunately, Online Warriors just a little bit too strong.